Have you ever wondered who's calling the shots on the new features for your favorite app? Or, how a company like Tesla decides to build a brand new car? Well, the answer, more often than not, is a product manager. It's one of the most critical and honestly one of the most misunderstood jobs in business today. So let's dive in and figure out what they really do.
Okay, to get us started, let's play a little game. What did these three things, your phone in your pocket, your Netflix subscription, and maybe even your insurance policy, what do they all have in common? I mean, they seem totally different, right? One's a physical thing, one's a digital service, and the other is, well, it's a piece of paper that gives you peace of mind. But there's one simple idea that ties them all together.
And there it is. The answer is, they're all products. And that's really the first big idea we need to wrap our heads around. The word product is so much bigger and more interesting than just something you can pick up off a shelf in a store.
Which brings us to our first major point. See, to really understand a product manager, you have to first understand the world they live in. And it's a world where just about everything is a product. Here's a classic definition from the marketing legend, Philip Kotler. Now, a lot of that sounds a bit academic, but the most important part is right there at the end. Satisfies a want or a need. That's the key. A product isn't just an object, it's a solution to someone's problem. Whether that problem is, I'm bored, I'm hungry, or even I'm worried about the future. And this idea applies to a huge range of things. You've got your everyday convenience products, like food or clothes. Then you have shopping products, like a new TV, that you're going to spend some time researching. There's specialty items, like a fancy watch or a Tesla, that are all about satisfying a very specific desire. Heck, it even includes what we call unsought products, like insurance. The stuff you buy because you have to, not because you want to. And of course, services like a hotel stay and all the digital apps that pretty much run our lives today. They're all products too.
Okay, now this is where things get really interesting in the modern world. Because today, products are basically split into two completely different universes. And that creates this incredible challenge for anyone trying to manage them.
The easiest way to think about it is like this. Physical products, a car, a coffee maker, a chair, they exist in a world of atoms. They have weight, they take up space, and you have to physically build them and ship them somewhere. But digital products, an app, a software platform, a streaming service, they exist in a world of bits. They're totally weightless, and you can send them around the globe in a split second.
And that one simple difference, atoms versus bits, creates these massive strategic divides. Just think about distribution. A physical product needs warehouses, trucks, ships, a huge, complex supply chain. A digital product? You just hit upload. That means the competition in the digital world is absolutely brutal because anyone can jump in. But maybe the biggest difference is feedback. With a physical product, you might get sales reports once a month. With a digital one, you get a continuous, real-time fire hose of data telling you exactly how people are using it, second by second.
So, who is the person that has to navigate this unbelievably complex world of atoms and bits, of customer needs and business goals? Well, it is time to meet the hero of our story, the product manager.
This is probably the best and most concise definition you'll ever find. A product manager, or a PM, as they're often called, is responsible for a product from the very first spark of an idea all the way through its launch, its growth, and sometimes even its retirement. And that phrase, mini CEO, is just perfect. Why? Because they own the product's success or failure. They don't manage the engineers or the marketers directly, but they are the single person who is ultimately responsible for the outcome. It's that central point of ownership.
And believe it or not, this role has been around for a while. It actually started way back in the 1930s at Procter & Gamble. They had these guys called brandmen, who were given complete ownership over a single product, like a bar of soap. And the idea was so powerful that it spread to giants like GM and HP. But as you can imagine, the tech industry has completely revolutionized the role. Today's PM needs a whole new set of skills to navigate that world of bits we were just talking about.
So what does a PM actually do all day? Well, it's this constant juggling act between high-level strategy and on-the-ground execution. They define the vision, the big why behind the product. They create the roadmap, the plan for how to get there. They're the ones who have to make the really tough calls about which features get built now and which ones have to wait. But maybe the most important thing they do is lead through influence. They have to rally all these different teams, engineering, marketing, sales, and get them all rowing in the same direction. Because at the end of the day, the PM is the one on the hook for the product's success. And that brings us to our final and maybe our most important point. To really, truly understand what a product manager does, you have to get the unique mindset they bring to the table. And the best way to do that is to contrast it with a role you're probably more familiar with, the project manager.
This image just nails it. A project manager is focused on execution. Their world is all about timelines, resources, and logistics. They live and breathe questions like, when will this be done and how are we going to do it? But a product manager, they start from a totally different place. They're obsessed with the why. Why are we building this in the first place, and how is this going to be different and better than everything else out there?
So, here's the bottom line. Project thinking is about outputs. Did we deliver the thing we said we would, on time and on budget? Product thinking is about outcomes. Did we actually solve the customer's problem? Did we create real value? You've probably heard the saying, a project manager is focused on building the thing right. A product manager is focused on building the right thing. It's a subtle difference in words, but it's a massive difference in perspective.
I love this analogy from cricket. Even if you don't know the sport, it makes perfect sense. The project manager is like the team's logistics person, making sure everyone has the right equipment and knows the schedule. The product manager is the star all-rounder out on the field. They have to be good at everything: strategy, execution, communication, analysis, all at the same time.
So let's leave it with this question. In a world that is just full of complex problems, we desperately need more people who don't just ask how to get something done, but start by asking why it should be done in the first place. So take a look at the challenges you face in your own work or life. Are you thinking about the outputs, or are you focused on the outcomes? Are you thinking like a project manager or a product manager? It's a question that might just change the way you see everything.